Peng Wang, who is a PhD student at Indiana University. He likes to work on data-driven security, and he likes to study cybercrime.
So thank you for the introduction. I'm Peng Wang from Indiana University, and today I'd like to talk about how to understand the e-commerce fraud from the conversations of a chatbot with e-commerce subcriminals. So e-commerce is popular and convenient, and it's also fast-growing. However, this also increased the motivations of the online fraudsters to launch the fraud attacks on the e-commerce platforms. And in today's e-commerce underground markets, it is well organized, which means different activities are highly reliant on the crowdsourcing, and different people rely on the instant messaging to coordinate their activities and communicate with information. So, for example, in the case of the bonus hunting, in this case, because sometimes the e-commerce platforms will provide some bonus, some offers for a limited number of users, and some of the bonus hunters will hire a large number of small-time workers to fulfill the orders and then ship the orders for them. And later on, they can resell the orders for profit. So this is this activity highly reliant on crowdsourcing because there are so many offers on the e-commerce platforms. And also, in order to fulfill the orders, the small-time workers will need to buy a large number of fraud accounts from the account merchants. And the account merchants will generate a large number of fraud accounts with different types and prices, and then they will sell them on the website they hold, which are usually in the deep web. And during the process of registering the account, theme farming will be involved. So because the e-commerce platforms always use the phone verification for the account registration. So to bypass the phone verification, the attackers will build the SIM farms. And the SIM farm can provide phone numbers and the verification code to the account merchant for the account registration. And in the SIM farm, the SIM card can come from many sources, including the VoIP SIM card, and also the SIM farms can be in the form of websites or software. Here is a picture of the crowdsourcing-based e-commerce fraud ecosystem, which is very complicated with different types of fraudsters involved. And we can see that there are many different e-commerce fraud groups on different instant messaging platforms. So the instant messaging groups always will contain some useful information for the security analyst to understand the e-commerce fraud. Here is an example of one of the e-commerce underground instant messaging group. However, there are some of the target intelligence of the security analyst is not always appeared in the group discussions. The information security analyst target is always from the one-on-one chat with specific fraudster rules. So for example, for the SIM farmers, the security analyst may want to know where the SIM card is come from. And for the fraud account merchant, the security analyst want to know where the store link to buy the fake account, and so on. It can also show that from the individual chat, it can provide more useful information to the security analyst. So this will make it be a big challenge for security analysts to collect the threat intelligence from the e-commerce fraudsters. And also, what makes it worse is the number of e-commerce fraudsters is keep growing. And one natural solution can be we can use a chatbot to communicate with the fraudsters. However, the existing chatbot techniques cannot be used for this kind of e-commerce fraud study. And also, it is also communicated to strategically lead the fraudster to discuss and provide the target threat intelligence we want to get. To solve the above challenges, we have designed and implemented a chatbot called Aubrey, which is the first autonomous conversation system for active threat intelligence collection from the e-commerce fraudsters. And the evaluation of Aubrey shows it can get a large number of valuable fraud-related artifacts, and these artifacts has bring us new insight into the e-commerce fraud ecosystem. So our solution is based on a unique observation about the information exchange among the fraudsters. So as I mentioned before, in this complicated e-commerce fraud ecosystem, the activities are mostly rely on the small-time workers. And during the in the activities, small-time workers will always need to find the attack resources and the tasks, and they need to get the information from different types of fraudsters. And when we look into the conversation between the small-time worker and the e-commerce fraudster, we can notice that there is a pattern which is the question-driven. So in this case, this is a real conversation between a small-time worker and the fraud account merchant. So each time the small-time worker will ask a question about the accounts and expect an answer from the fraudster. And when this round is completed, a predictable next round will be conducted. So this observation means we can model the whole conversation into a finite state machine. So then this can enable us to build up an autonomous tool to conduct this conversation. Based on the observation we introduce the architecture of our tool. So first of all, we use a target finder to find the target rules that Aubrey will chat with, also about the ID on the instrument platforms. So in order to do so, we collect the discussion of instrument groups of 150 e-commerce fraud groups, and also then we use, with these discussions, we build up classifiers based on the features, including keyword features, behavioral features, and also intent indicators to identify the role of the members in the group. And then we have a strategy generator to generate the FSM of Aubrey to chat with the specific fraudster rules. Here is the definition of the FSM used in our study. It's a 5-tuple, including the S, which is a set of states. In the set of states, each state will be a question that Aubrey can send to the target rule, and R is the response from the target rules. And the transition function will decide the last state based on the response and the current state. And here I will demonstrate how the FSM was generated. Here is an example of the set conversations we used from the security analysts and the online fraudsters. So with this state computation, we use a test clustering algorithm to segment the computation into different dialog blocks. So in different dialog blocks, the messages that are in the same topic will be grouped together. For each dialog block, we further use the topic identification algorithm to identify the topic in the dialog block. And when we have all this information, for example, we have the dialog blocks and the topic in the dialog block. We will manually check the states and their relationships, and to convert it into the FSM. With the target information and the FSM for the target rule, we further use the Dialog Manager to control the computation of Aubrey with the target rule. And the Dialog Manager will analyze the response from target rule to check whether it contains the target intelligence, or it's a question, or it's a negation. And based on this analysis, it will decide which state will be the last state. And here I will introduce one of the scenario, which is when the target rule asks a question to Aubrey. In this case, Aubrey will enter into the retrieval model, and here is the FSM for the retrieval model. So in this scenario, because the response of the target does not contain the target information we want to collect, we will look into our data set that collected from the underground forums and underground instant menu groups to seek for the similar question. And based on the question, we will respond the target with the most relevant answer. So in our study, we have used Aubrey to successfully chat with 470 e-commerce online fraudsters and got more than 7,000 communication traces. Here are the details for each of the rules. And here we summarize the threat intelligence we collected from the computation. And in the following slides, I will go to some of the details. So from the communication with the SIM farmers, we got 40 SIM gateways, which are website or software that the customer can get a fake phone number. And further, we query these SIM gateways and fetch more than 300,000 fraud phone numbers. And then we also worked with our industry partner to verify the phone numbers. And we found that about 90% of the phone numbers were already being used for account registration on the e-commerce platform. And also 72% of the accounts had been used to order online. And we have shared this information to the industry partner, and they are using this kind of information to enhance their detection system. From the account merchants, we found 38 account trading websites in the deep web. This means this kind of account trading website cannot be searched from the search engine. And also, we got 5 hacking tools for borders hunting. And by reverse engineering these hacking tools, we discovered about 10 private APIs of the e-commerce company, which had been used to automatically place orders and collect coupons. And when we verify with this information to the industry partner, they confirm that these tools and private APIs has never been known before. And for the fraud order operators, we also get a large number of invaluable information, including the fulfillment addresses they use and the hack tools they use. Interestingly, we found that to bypass the detection of the e-commerce platform, the fraud order operators, they will already use some fake ship addresses with some specific patterns. And we summarize the address patterns they use and reported it to our industry partner. And during the conversation with different kinds of e-commerce fraudsters, we found that the fraud account merchants lies at the center of this ecosystem, with both the same farmers and the fraud order operators. They highly worked with the account merchant. So, with this finding, we suggest that we should put more efforts to mitigate the fraud account attacks, which will be quite helpful to mitigate the threat in this whole e-commerce fraud ecosystem. In conclusion, in our work, we have shown that the chatbot is quite effective to study the subcrime which are highly rely on the crowdsourcing. And also, as I mentioned, the account trading lies at the center of the e-commerce fraud ecosystem, and more effort should be put to mitigate the fraud account threats. And the current implementation and design of Aubrey is simple, but we have shown that it's quite effective, and we have discovered a lot of useful intelligence that can be used in practical. In the future, we can enhance Aubrey with more complicated conversation model, and also a larger open domain corpus can be helpful to deal with more complicated conversation. And also a hybrid model which has human analysts involved can also be employed in the chatbot. And we have published our code and data on this link, and please check if you are interested. And thank you for your patience, and welcome any questions.
So very interesting work. If there are any questions, please walk to the microphone. Let me start by asking one question. So I'm curious if you know, while the chatbot was interacting with the like other party, if you could tell that the other party realized that they're talking to a chatbot, and if you did, then how often did this happen in your experiments?
Yeah. In our study, there are only one case that the subject are suspicious about the role of Aubrey. But since the communication between Aubrey and that subject is short, we don't have too much information to confirm why he had identified Aubrey as a chatbot. For all other cases, the subjects have no question about who the Aubrey is and why it asks such questions. So I think that because the study we focus on is usually based on crowdsourcing, and if they are too suspicious to ask questions, then will be too much burden for them.
Okay, but do you think that? So do you think it's possible that in some conversations the other party understood that they're talking to a chatbot and fed you fake information rather than saying that they're suspicious?
So on kind of study, we don't find evidence of such kind of cases. For example, they have identified it is chatbot to study their behaviors, and they provide some fake information. And in our case, because we have a specific target threat intelligence, and we further can verify the threat intelligence is fake or not. So in our study, the threat intelligence, after we verify it's not fake and it's useful. So I don't think they have did the behavior you just mentioned.
If there are no other questions, let's thank the speaker.